Print Island. I'm here in the studio with my co-host, Phil Walsh. And today we've got some great guests from Nilpeter. We have got Thomas Andersen. Thomas, welcome. And Thomas is the area manager for Nilpeter for Europe, Africa, Middle East. And then we have got Martin Teilberg. And I hope I'm saying it correctly because I'm trying to use a bit of my Afrikaans, which is Teilberg. You are the CMO, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Obviously, Nilpeter has got such a big name in the Flexo industry. And I see you guys have been around for about 100 years. Not you personally, but the company. So, Martin, do you want to give us a bit of history about Nilpeter?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again for having us here at this very nice setting. We're very pleased to be here. And as you mentioned, Nilpeter has been around for more than 100 years. It was founded in 1919. So yeah, 6-7 years ago, we celebrated the 100 years anniversary. It was founded as a family-owned company. And today it is still a family-owned business. We're on the 4th generation with the owner and the CEO of Nilpeter, Peter Eriksson, running the business still today. With Lars, his dad, still being active in the company as well. So, I think that, we have a big heritage. We have a very big history. We've been here, for more than 100 years, and we have a very well-known brand in the industry. Of course, a lot of things have happened since the start in 1919. Actually, the company was founded as a service company for the industry at the time. It was actually founded at a bar in Copenhagen where two guys were having a beer and said, why don't we start this service business for the type of presses you had at the moment or at that time. And then things has just developed, of course. There's been a lot of things in the history that has kind of formed and shaped Nilpeter to what it is today. And I think that from around the 1980s, the company really took this international and global shape that it has today, and ever since it has been a recognized company throughout the world. And even though we've been here for so many years, the innovation spirit and the wish to constantly develop and innovate and find out new things and kind of push the limits onto what they can do within primarily Flexo is still a very important thing in Nilpeter, right? So it's a company that is continuously developing, absolutely still.
So Flexo is growing at a rapid rate, and I'm surprised every time I read how big and the plans to grow that part of business. What are you seeing on the ground?
We obviously still believe in Flexo. For us, the future is Flexo. It is what we developed, it's what we see, where we see the growth will be, it's what we think we can make better and better in the years to come. And we're seeing that with our customers as well. We're seeing more Flexo being used, we're seeing presses go wider, we're seeing Flexo being used in more applications. So Flexo, without a doubt, is still there. And as we say, the future is Flexo.
And tell me, what is happening? What are you seeing in emerging geographies? Because we know globally it's a big thing. And on the emerging geographies, there's a lot of focus there currently.
For me, it's my markets are Africa, the Middle East, and Central and West Asia. All the markets I cover, bar a few, they are emerging markets and developing. And I think across all of them, what I see is there's more local production, there are more smaller producers, there are more things being produced. You take Africa, for example, all across Africa, there's a lot of local production of a lot of different products. You go to Tanzania, you go to Kenya, you go to the Ivory Coast, it's all the same. Supermarkets are full of local products. And these producers, they want good quality labels and packaging for their products.
So what are the biggest challenges that a lot of these converters are facing in these emerging geographies?
I think a lot of them are facing an issue in that traditionally there hasn't been a lot of high quality printing going on for especially short runs in these countries. Labels have been imported, they've been coming from far away, which has meant for small producers it hasn't been so easy to just go out and say, oh, I want a really nice label, I want a really nice pouch, I want it like this, like that, I want to change it. They haven't been able to get that. But with presses coming into emerging markets and being installed, better presses, more high-end presses, higher quality, we're starting to see them buying the products that are coming off these presses. And when we go to shows, and we've been to a lot of shows across Africa the last couple of years, we have a lot of people that come to our booth to ask where they can get the quality of labels and flexible packaging we are exhibiting at the booth.
Thomas, we saw each other in Nairobi at ProPack. I was talking to a few manufacturers there. All of them seem to have one point they kept bringing up, is that they really want to keep it in Africa, keep production in Africa and not be relying on foreign imports in. And clearly you're seeing that as well, yes?
Absolutely. We're definitely seeing a trend towards that. We're seeing people being really happy that we're exhibiting. They're really happy that we're there, and they're supporting the fact that we are investing in these markets.
Great. So, Martin, this one's probably for you. I mean, the market is clearly moving to shorter runs. How are you, and do you see that a lot throughout Europe? Shorter runs is definitely, something people talk about, but in reality, do you see this actually happening?
Do we see it happening? I mean, as you said, it is like talk of the town, right? That it goes shorter, and you need more flexibility on your press. You need to run more different SKUs and everything, SKUs and stuff. But do we see it? I think we see it, yeah, in general across both Europe and also in the regions that Thomas is present. We see it, and I think that our presses are, our presses can also support that need in the market, definitely. So it is a trend that we're seeing, and we see that there is a bigger people are asking for that in our solutions, definitely. So yes, we see it.
So a question for you then. So when you look at this, we can see that over the last, I don't know, would you put a year on it for us? Would you say like over the last 5 or 10 years, short runs have become more popular and that there's a bigger demand for them? Or is this something that's just gradually happened?
I think it's hard for me to put a year on, put a number on, also because I've only been with Nilpeter for 3 years, so I don't have all of the background history, obviously. But I would say that it is from what I see and what I have experienced within the last 3-4 years is that it is gradually happening. I don't think that you can say, okay, the shift came in 2010 or whatever. It is a gradual transition to that. I believe so.
Okay, the reason I was asking is because I've seen a lot of change since COVID. COVID changed the world, and I was just wondering if you've seen an acceleration since 2021 when we all got back to work.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a valid point here. It is very likely that the change has happened even more from that point on, because the way we are in the world has just changed since that, right? So that's a valid point, absolutely.
So right now, everybody's talking hybrid. Wherever you go, whichever show, everything's hybrid. What is your strategy? How does your hybrid strategy sit within the market? And, where are you focusing when it comes to that?
I mean, we as Thomas said in the beginning, and as it says on the sign behind him, the future is Flexo. So obviously that is our core business. Hybrid is of course, it is relevant to the industry. We see a lot of traction on hybrid as well. For Nilpeter, it's not our main focus. We do partner with Screen, Domino, or others to make hybrid solutions, but it is not our primary focus. I think we made a decision some years ago to say that we will focus on Flexo. Of course, if a customer is asking for a specific hybrid solution, we can go into partnership with that. But it is a strategic decision to say that we keep one focus, right? We also used to have digital presses, our panorama line, and that we do not have that in our portfolio anymore either. So I think it's our way to kind of differentiate ourselves. We see a lot of our competitors who may have a broader portfolio of solution. That's fine. They can do what they find the best thing to do in the market. But for us, we try to have our core business on Flexo.
And I think what it is we decided that the future is Flexo, that we can develop, we can digitalize, we can automate our presses so much that we can compete more in the space there is between digital and Flexo. We can bring our one lengths where they're feasible, we can bring them further down, we can make our presses more productive. We can create an environment around our Flexo presses that makes it more similar to a digital environment. And that's the direction we're going at. We are not saying digital is bad. We're not saying we don't think hybrid is a good idea. Like Martin said, we work on a lot of hybrid projects at the moment, even across my area. But it's not something we don't want to develop a digital engine ourselves. We will focus our R&D money on developing Flexo, the technology of Flexo, our presses, more and more, so they become more digitalized, more automated, and that's what you see at all the shows we go to. It's we present new technology within Flexo.
Okay, and that fair comment there. So I've always thought we've been saying for ages that digital inkjet, but these offset guys and the Flexo guys have not been sitting on their hands doing nothing. When you look at everyone, even as I say, the offset guys as well, fast plate changing, fast to make readies. What are you doing to address that?
Well, we're making it easier and easier to be able to change plates and other tooling on our presses. But at the same time, we're digitalizing our presses more and more. We're automating them more and more. The digitalization is to be able to bring out data from the presses, to be able to use that data, to be able to have that environment around the presses so you can operate in a, let's call it a digital way. Eventually, the aim for us would be to have a dark room where you have, let's say, 3, 4, 5 presses, but run from one control room, one operator, and maybe some helpers.
So we look at Nilpeter, and I mean, you guys have always had a platform sort of approach. You've got a press that you can always add on, and it's always been amazing to see the progress you've made there. Where does automation and let's say automation workflow, where does that all fit into your presses now?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We are, as you said, we are not just selling a press. We are selling a complete solution, and I think that our solutions are getting more and more automated. We see, we spend a lot of resources on constantly making them more automated, more digitalized, more data driven as well. And I think that we also see a change in our R&D team, where it used to be more mechanical engineering platform. We built the press, which is of course still the core of our presses, but we have put it extra layers on the automation and the digitalization. So it's more the software part of the press is playing an even bigger role constantly, right? And that's just, I think that just fits well into how you can add extra value to your press, right? Before it was maybe you could extra hardware, new hardware on this modular concept. You can still do that, but in the combination with the software and the things we're developing here, I think it plays well together, right? So you can get even more benefit from your hardware, and then you can use the software to make it even better. I don't know if that answered your question, but that's just
I think, yes, it does. But have let's say the converters fitted into that with comfort, or has that part been a bit of a challenge and additional training? And have they adapted to, let's just say, the solution approach pretty well?
I think on our newer presses, where we're developing, as Martin said, I think it's becoming easier and easier for them to adapt to these technologies. We are making presses easier and easier to use. The digitalization, the automation is also because it's more and more difficult to find good operators. So it's not only to automate, it's also to be able to give our customers presses that are easier to use, easier to train people on, and easier to fit into that new environment. So it's not more difficult for them, it's actually easier for them to now install a press and start using it.
Yeah, and I think, but it's also a question of which markets are you looking at, right? I mean, we see a lot of, there's some are very, they're really welcoming the new technology, the software, and like taking all the opportunities to make the best out of all these new opportunities. And of course, in other markets, it's still on a more simple, not simple in a negative way, but just a more basic way, right? So I think we see a lot of differentiation within, what kind of solutions is it that our clients are asking for, right? And we can do, and that's also why it's so interesting to, I work closely with Thomas on these emerging markets to see, like, okay, how is that developing? Where is it coming from? Where is it going to? And also compare that to what we see in other, even more, developed markets. So it's just interesting to see, like, where are our clients on their different journeys in the development of today's solutions.
Okay, that's great, because we one of the questions we were going to ask is how are you seeing things in Asia, because where do you produce, guys? Where's your factory?
We produce in Denmark, Europe, and then in India. We have a big facility in India, in Chennai, and then we do a little in the States as well.
Okay, so if you were investing in a press today, let's call it one of your Flexo presses, what advice would you give to converters out there that are busy looking? Don't say only buy our press, give me a bit more meat.
No, I would say that. I would actually say that, yeah. What are the boxes that you have to tick to future-proof yourself in the business? And what does Nilpeter bring to that?
I think maybe I can start, Thomas, and you can add to that. I think for us, of course, we are not, Nilpeter is a premium brand within this industry, right? But of course, we have presses that, target different levels of investment. And I think it's just, of course, we also see the competition from China and others, right? Where it's absolutely focused on the price only. But I think, for more than 100 years, Nilpeter's slogan has been that we are your printing partner. And I honestly think, and of course, I'm a little biased here being from Nilpeter, but I honestly think that you have to look at the long-term value of your press as well. You can't just look, okay, now it's very cheap, and then it can run for maybe a year, right? You have to cover like the whole circle to see that we are there, both before, but during the installation, after the installation. We have a global customer care team that takes care of you, that helps you when your press is not running, right? When it's stopped, so you don't have the downtime. So I think, we are in here for the long, for the long partnership. In the beginning, we have presses targeting other investment levels as well. And, when you go with these presses, you still get the full global customer care support. So we don't just leave you alone. So maybe think a little more ahead than just 2 or 3 years. That would be one of the things.
Yeah, very good. People buy from people. People need partnerships. Exactly. I like it. Okay.
So what excites you? If I have to ask you both individually, what excites you about the future of print? In obviously just in the areas you're covering, but in the segment that you work in. What excites you about what's coming and what's happening?
I think for me, it's exciting to travel around the area I cover. It's exciting to meet all of the printers that I meet, to meet the people I meet, to see how these markets are developing, how products, not just, and here I'm not talking our Nilpeter presses, but products in the markets are developing, and how our high-end presses can assist them in developing the products they want to develop. It's exciting to go to supermarkets when I'm out traveling, to see how the products on the shelves are really developing, they're changing, there are more products there. It's really exciting to see, and I enjoy that more than anything else, I think.
You know, if we were to move on to the current situation, guys, so the conflicts that are going on in the world today in certain regions, Gene, you were saying to me this morning that you see, you know, shortages of materials. Are your customers reaching out to you saying that things are difficult to get supplies, or is there anything? You know, we're not going to, it's not a political show, so we're not going to get political. We're just going to talk about the impact on our industry that we love.
Yeah, I mean, it is an extremely challenging environment for all of us, right? Once you think that, okay, now it can't get worse, then just something new happens. So we all kind of need to adapt to the new normal constantly. I think we have learned a lot from the last, just since COVID, right? That things are changing, moving constantly. And of course, you mentioned, suppliers, they are having shortages on materials and stuff. And of course, we hear that in the market. We hear it. It's not really something that we can control. We can just try to, as I said, adapt to the market, control what we can control, continue doing our thing, continue to believe that, things will, be fixed somehow, and just keep pushing. And I think luckily, Nilpeter is a global company. So if you have of course, many of the things we're talking about now, they have a global impact. But I think that it is our luck, that if one market is a little down due to some changes there or some challenges there, then we have other markets. So it's like up and down. But in the end, it's we all get out on the other side at some point, right? But it is challenging, and sometimes you get frustrated, right? Because why can't we just sell our presses, sell our solutions? Why do we have to deal with all these things that sometimes you feel, are unnecessary, right? But it's challenging for us. It's challenging for our customers, suppliers, everybody. But it's the same for all of us, right? So yeah.
You're right. That's the thing. I think all suppliers are in the same boat. And there's always that saying, one man's loss is another man's gain. We obviously, guys, can't produce in certain areas because of challenges. It's good to have a partner that can help you find alternative solutions or an alternative supplier. So, yeah, I'm just unfortunate that we have to go through this. But I guess, like you said, this is life.
Well, guys, I must say, going back years, the first thing I heard about Nilpeter was that their presses are very well engineered. And I have to say, in preparation for this meeting, I did some homework on you. And that flashed up again. People talking about the quality of your engineering. That didn't happen by accident, is it? Obviously, you've invested a lot of money and time making that happen. Are you particularly proud of this?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you are right. That is what we are best known for. And at the core of it, we really are an engineering company. We've not always been very good at sales or at marketing or getting our name out and making sure we're covered everywhere. It's what Martin and I are trying to change now, but we've not always been very good at that. But what we've always been good at is engineering and manufacturing.
Yep.
Which, stick to what you know.
Unbeatable.
Yeah, and I just wanna add to that. I mean, my primary job is to protect and promote the Nilpeter brand, and you know,
Yep.
having spent the last 3 or 4 years traveling around the world, talking to partners, customers, and really gotten into this company, it makes you proud when you come out there, you know, to learn about people's perception about Nilpeter and how they see it, because it's always quality is one of the first words that they come up with, right? And of course, I mean, we're not perfect. We make lots of mistakes. You know, we also have unhappy customers, of course, like everybody else. But generally, the respect about the brand and us being a company-owned business still is it makes you proud, and it makes you, you know, it gives you that drive to continue to push even during the hard times.
Good, and you should be proud of that. Yeah,
Absolutely. So, guys, I think unless you've got something more to add, I think we've almost come to the end of our show today, and it's been very interesting and exciting having you here with us and giving us your insights.
Absolutely,
because I always say you're never too old to learn, because every day somebody, you know, kind of gives you some insights that, I never thought of that. And so thank you for sharing, and thank you for your insights.
And thanks for coming to Print Island today. Really appreciate that. That was your taxi.
That was your taxi.
To take you to the airport town. So listen, when you get down to the Print Island airport, don't worry about the plane. It's very safe. Doesn't look much, but it hasn't had a problem for weeks. You're okay. They'll get you home safe. Don't worry. Come again and see us soon on Print Island.
Absolutely. We'd love to see you soon. Thank you for your time. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.